Evening. Hello. Let me know if you can hear me, because that would make a big difference in life if you can actually hear me. If not, that'd be funny. But yeah, hope you're good. Hope you're well on this fantastic, snowy Sunday evening in the UK, where I'm currently at. Kind of sucks a bit. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see how many people show up on this one, because mix it up a little bit. Put it on this channel for a bit. See who comes in, says hello, and all kinds of good stuff. Ooh, what's happening? Ooh. So hi everyone. Make sure you do slap said like button, leave a comment, slap the share button as well, because it does make a big difference, and input anything that you so wish to. I will probably rabble on for a bit, because this will be a normal sort of video as per, so people can come back, have a little look. But we do need to talk about a few things for obvious situations. The obvious is the market cap is 2.06 trillion. Pretty crazy, I know. Wasn't expecting it to be so quick. Bitcoin is currently testing 60k levels, and we'll look at the charts in a minute. But the one thing that is obvious is we need to talk about the dominance chart. We need to talk about total 2. We need to talk about obviously Ethereum, Bitcoin, Binance as well, currently at $500, which is absolutely savage at the moment. Yeah, crazy. When you think $77 billion, it's crazy, and you start to look at the likes of Polkadot looking more and more attractive in terms of where it is, and a lot of coins below this sort of line essentially looking pretty tasty and somewhat undervalued. But we will talk about a few people. I like having only 14 people here. It's great. I get less people wanting me to shill their rubbish, which is great. Hence why the change. We also need to build this channel up, to be fair, so you'll probably see a bit from Andy as well in the future on here. Anyways, shall we talk about a few things first? So we'll talk obvious regarding everything. There's a bit of an echo in my voice. That's not a good sign, is it? Bear with. Should we tinker? Tinker with some settings. I'll move that over. Have a little gander. Does that sound better? Let me know. Because I can play with my settings whilst I'm live. Because why not? I have been messing around with a bit of my microphone, to be fair. See if it sounds better now. It's just default, basically. Ooh. Hi. Anyways, I'll crack on. So let's talk about a few things, right? So the one thing that's getting me very, very excited is obviously this. Now, I have changed my chart a little bit. I do apologise. At the end of the day, there's not much I can do regarding mentioning the fact of the world of crypto and the world of the BTC pair, which is lovely. BTC pairs are what you should be looking at. And the reason why I always say that is the obvious in the room is everyone goes on USD charts. The BTC pairs are at low levels, and they have been at low levels for ages, and now they're finally woken up. Therefore, this is dropping quite significantly. Obviously, significantly. Fundamentals of this, and the reason why this is important, is the lower this goes, the more profits you're going to make in BTC. Obviously, if we zoom out a little bit, you can kind of see how high it's kind of been and how much it's aggressively fallen, and obviously where it's been. These are previous little alt seasons that we've had. This was the one in the summer, which was pretty tasty. This was the Bitcoin boom, and this is what we are currently at, which is why a lot of people are very, very profitable at the moment. Certainly if you've been buying the right things. Now, looking at the weekly kind of outlook on it, it looks savage. It looks disgusting. If you are a altcoin bull, you are very, very excited. Like myself, I use altcoins to grow Bitcoin, essentially. Simple as that, right? And that is a horrific weekly candle, which is closing in 6 hours pretty much. So that's good. That's nice to look at. And the fundamentals of all this is simple. If this fails and doesn't stay below or above 57, which is where we've bounced off, and we've never actually, it's been a while, right? If we're looking weekly candles in terms of rejection here in January 2019, and we'll talk roughly April 2019 levels, right? That's a big change. That's a big cataclysmic drop in terms of BTC dominance, and that's good. Yes, Bitcoin is still doing well, obviously, but the altcoins have woken up. All these people are now going, yes, I want those bags of altcoins, please, which is always good. So that's always good, right? So what happens next? Well, chances are, in my opinion, I think we're going to go down to 52, at least. 52 would be nice, but we could also go even lower. So I haven't went even lower on this. I don't want to go too deep, but actually there's areas where it can go down to like 46. Now this is market sentiment only, so a lot of this is kind of a bit wishy-washy, but also you can tell by market sentiment. Certain things or certain parameters on the charts on an index will always move the market. So if a big line of support is at a certain point, there's probably a reason why it's turned there at some point, due to maybe a very big level on one of the big cap coins that may well trigger other people to take profits, and obviously Bitcoin as well. So just be careful with where you're putting your money. I will check the channel in a channel chat in a minute. But yeah, throw out some suggestions. I'll have a little look at a few things, but I'm not going to be showing you crap, basically. This is a company channel, so any financial advice is not financial advice, if you know what I mean. So as you know, do your own research, understand the markets, do your learning, and obviously check out our courses on the links. Cool. Right, Bitcoin. Let's look at it. For me, looking at the weekly time frame, it's looking pretty good, right? Realistically, when you are looking at this was a previous high. It's currently supported as it stands on the weekly time frame. Going over to the 3-day chart, you can kind of see it's just nestling its head above the parapet there. So it's an obvious uptrend. I cannot even explain how easy that looks as an uptrend. It's like, and people want to short this shit. I just don't get it. Just do not short it. Literally, if you got one thing to do, take profit, that's it. Don't short it. What's the point? You know, you're going to get absolutely wrecked. And you're looking at all these time frames going gradually lower and lower. It's just looking nicely. But I do feel that we are going to start going sideways soon. I'm not trying to say that because I want it. I just got a feeling it's going to be quite a big area to kind of get above. And it's kind of already shown over the last, month or so. We've been in and around this area. So it's kind of been quite good in some ways that this whole period, essentially, of time is somewhat side-ish, apart from this drop. But obviously, you can see a previous level. So I'm hoping for this sort of period again where it goes a little bit sideways. But we'll see what happens. If it does happen, all is good for the altcoins to carry on pushing, because we all know what's happening with the altcoins right now. They are kind of bullish at the moment. But fundamentals are simple. This goes sideways, altcoins carry on going, altcoins will go berserk, and we all do incredibly well, essentially, if you're holding altcoins for obvious matters. But there's not much to really go on about this other than the fact that it either breaks all-time high and carries on going a little bit higher, or it just sits in and around this region, because there's a lot of support levels here. Like, it doesn't take much to work out that there's quite a lot of support levels in and around these regions, and they're all big numbers. Like, I'm looking at this and thinking, well, where's Bitcoin going to go from this point? Well, a lot of people are like going, oh, it's going to go back down to 20k. I physically cannot at the moment see that happening at any time soon. Yes, it could obviously happen, but when we start thinking drops, it just feels very unlikely it's just going to lose so much percentage very quickly. I think it's a different, mature market at the moment. Yes, there will be a bear market. Yes, there will be cycles where it's not as good as what it is right now. But to just see it just drop off a cliff, we're talking here, when I go back to 2017 levels and what my memory was in 2018, we went from 19,500 to like literally 12k in a matter of like a day or something, or 2 days. It was ridiculous. So that's like the same sort of gravity kind of pull. So I just see it very unlikely that we're going to do it that quickly. And what we're always seeing, every single dip has been bought up, and it's starting to look, in my opinion, starting to like these corrections are getting more and more, shorter essentially. So it's like it's kind of compressing and contracting a little bit and going very much narrow. And we may well find that this might go sideways. Hopefully, fingers crossed, but we'll see. In terms of RSI as well, I think to put the pointer on, in some ways it's kind of in a neutral zone, and it seems to be looking quite sideways on here as well. So we may well start getting that wish that we might actually get a little bit of a cooling off period. But that, that it's that whole thing is like, oh my god, we've gone from, like, if you start looking at the chart and you go, oh my god, from September time to this, we've done that. There's been some corrections, don't get me wrong. There's 1, 2, 3 obvious corrections there. You can argue a few little ones here and there as well, like that one. But when we start thinking, well, obvious levels, well, what's going to happen? Well, chances are if we do correct, there's going to be support levels been buying this stuff up essentially, which should be quite good. Yeah, cool. Other things to look at as well, which I do want to cover, was obviously Ethereum. I want to talk with the BTC chart first. Now, this is like a beautiful chart. In my opinion, a beautiful chart. I don't know what that is. We'll move that. So we've had this level of demand, which has been tapped for ages. We finally broke up on the daily time frame above the EMA, and now we're on a nice little nestled up support. This support level is quite a significant one. So we have multiple tabs of support and resistance throughout time, right? Maybe, yeah, further history, as you can kind of allude to, right? So when we start talking about this, I feel that this is going to go up higher, much, much higher. I think we're going to retrace this entire drop, and I think we're going to go much higher than it. I think this is going to be a big swing up, personally. I think there's going to be like a 60 to 80% move at some point in this very, very soon, which will be very, very nice for Ethereum lovers, because that's going to basically put it right up to over $3,000, and it'll probably trigger the rest of the alt season to go mental. But we'll see. So if we are looking at the obvious here, so that is kind of what we've got. I know it looks really noddy and boring, but we've got a level here, the 23%. It may well drop lower in and around where the EMA is as well, which is quite a handy area. So we'll see where it goes. But if that does happen, we may well see, price levels go up to these levels at least. That's 14%, but I do think it's going to go much higher than that. I think we're going to actually retrace this entire move, essentially. So I think this is going to be the setup. Not so much that retracement, but longer term, if we're on the 2-day chart here, I think we're going to retrace this entire move, but I think we're going to carry on going to these extension levels up here, up and around these. Now this level here, if I zoom out, it's an actual level and a zone in and around where it's been resistance a few times, 1, 2, there's been a number of taps in and around that region. So that could be of interest. Well, it's quite a way into the future, but at the same time, in terms of cryptocurrency, it's not too far away. So that's a 47%. And it could go even higher, because when you do zoom out on this chart, by the way, and I know people don't do it for obvious reasons, I still think it's undervalued. I've said this a lot of times now. Obvious uptrend on the weekly time frame as well, looking quite nice, but we've got levels up here that could be easily bloody penetrated at some point or retraced, which would be scary when you start thinking of the value of what Ethereum could be if Bitcoin remains high. Obviously, if Bitcoin drops down a bit and gradually just dribbles down to 50k, 40k, whatever, at some point over a slow period of time, it won't be as, obviously, USD heavy. But in BTC terms, that's great for dominance, because dominance will drop like a stone. Ethereum will be more powerful versus it, and it'll obviously be worth more in BTC, which will be pretty awesome. Cool. I'm going to remove that little line now. Last thing I want to talk about in terms of chat, and obviously I'll get to questions and natter and giggle and laugh and whatever. This is the bull and the bear market in terms of how I do it, right? In terms of how I calculate the market, right? And I've mentioned this a few times. I'll put that to the top now. So if you go to log scale on the total 2 chart, zoom the levels out quite well. You do need to chunk out a little bit if you can. That's as much as you can. Weekly time frames, monthly time frames, whatever you want to go on. Monthly and weekly is probably the best, right? So for me, how I've kind of portrayed this, moving average 21, boom, right? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But you've also got trend analysis and formation, so obviously higher highs and all that kind of good stuff, right? Bull market at the previous level was approximately 800 days, give or take, and then we've got the bear market here, and then we've got bull market. I personally feel that this has got a long way to go, and this is like my trigger of not to put money in the market. So if it's bull, you put money in the market, you buy the dips every single time, right? When it's bear, you sit on your hands and you wait for the lower lows, you wait for the absolutely death cycles, like, oh my god, people are in tears, and people have left and started playing poker again, like Doug Poker or whatever, right? They've given up with crypto. So when you see all these YouTubers bugger off, all the people that were doing dropshipping 3 weeks ago are now doing YouTube videos, you'll probably find that they'll disappear. And then you'll be like, oh, cool, I can start buying again, because they've probably given up with it. So I personally feel, yes, we can correct quite aggressively, by the way. So if we're looking at the weekly time frame, move EMA 21 here. Now, I don't want to put any fear into people, but this could significantly drop 45% if it wanted to. Naturally, in a bull market, 40% retracements aren't a bad thing. Now, we've had that in the past. We've had this level here go all the way down to here. Oopsie. I've drawn a little dot there. So that one there, in and around where that region, that was 31%. It happens all the time, right? Expect a 30% drop at some point, right? Which would be fun. A nice little shake out, essentially, would be always good fun to see. So, for me, market's good, right? Still, it's fine. But just be careful of buying those tops on anything that you're looking at. But for me, I've mentioned this on a video. I believe we're going to run until at least the summer of 2022. But that being said, a lot of people disagree with me, thinking it's going to be a lot earlier. A lot of people think it's never ever going to end. Don't be that person, because every good thing comes to an end, whatever your life circumstance is. For fundamental reasons, yes, we got obviously quantitative easing, we've got stimulus, we've got obviously increased rate of obviously inflation and whatnot. But that doesn't mean that's just going to carry on going forever. Yes, it may well make it more aggressive. We just don't know how it's going to work. But the element is markets will gradually drip away. Basically, the profits will be pushed out. But the rule of thumb is simple, right? You do not put money in the market when we are below this line and we're going downwards, because there's no point. You only put money in when you've got money you can physically want to lose in solid projects at really, really low levels. Do not buy on the off chance that you're going to potentially try and make money. The opposite is you short the market. That's kind of the game that you're playing. If you're an investor, you will be that meme of, what if you buy the dip and it keeps on dipping? That's kind of where it comes from. So imagine this, right? You're thinking, right, 2018 levels, right? Oh, Ethereum looks like tasty. It's like, it was $1,400, now $600. Woohoo. And then the market just carries on melting. This was me. This is why I can draw upon this experience, because that was me. And I got out quickly enough to realize what I was doing. But if I kept holding it, and I know people will always say, oh, but if you take profits, you lose. But at the same time, sometimes if you take profits and you mitigate further losses, you've got capital there to put in low, and then you've got bigger back. That's what I did. I was lucky enough to do that. But you imagine this, right? $600 Ethereum, yeah. And then you keep buying it. It's like, oh, it's still cheap, still in value. Let's go for it. And it goes on to like $80. Oh God, you got to remember, there's a time and a place to put money in the market, and you can see here how low it was going. Like $36 billion the market was worth at the time in terms of 2018 of the entire altcoin market. It's crazy when you think how it's 883 right now. Crazy. So yeah, that's how you figure out. That's a little top tip for you. Anywho, I'm gonna I'll get to some questions now. So, who we got? Hello everyone. So yeah, a little bit different. The reason why learning crypto is becoming the main source of me doing lives, because one, it's my company. Two, I don't get any idiots who want me to shield their crap, right? So please don't try and get me to shout out a coin, because it won't have any power on this channel, which is great fun. But we are looking to grow the channel every Sunday, looking to do this anyways as free content, kind of weekly analysis, going over what's kind of happened and stuff like that, a little bit of TA, a little bit of coverage, or if you want to ask questions, crack on. But tomorrow or Tuesday, whatever day is best for Andy, you'll do like a weekly roundup on the channel. And anyway, so news, so you can keep up to date with that, which is always good. But who we got? Zilliqa to $10. I would love that. Maybe not before the end of the year though. Christ. Maybe I don't know. You got to think how early this market is. We just don't know. Maybe in 10 years. Who knows? Depends if it's still alive. But for me, I'd probably be out by then. Let's be honest. Are NFTs dead? Ooh, no. I think NFTs, in my opinion, right? This is my opinion, obviously. NFTs are brilliant because it shows ownership and what kind of a value of a tokenized asset is, right? So whether that's house, car, your slippers, whatever, right? You could put ownership on whatever that product is, right? I think what's killed it is idiots. And I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but there's some really knowledgeable people that will use NFTs in a right way, and there's some dickheads who won't, right? And I've already spotted the dickheads, and I've already seen the good people. There's good people who are building a brand around it as a little bit of a side thing for the fans, which is how it should be. But it seems to be kind of flushed with money grabbers at the minute, who are kind of ruining the game, like the ICO market, like the DeFi space not too long ago, in terms of all the rug pulls and the crappy little bollocks that you saw. But when you started to think there's real good reputable brands who are building NFTs just for their audience as a way of giving back, which is how it should be, for like, extra content, gaming sort of stuff, gamification as well in terms of community engagement, that's great. But when you start seeing people just making NFT because, why not? Because it's a bit of money on the side. it doesn't really fill me with much hope. And like you see the likes of Paris Hilton, who looks very, very knowledgeable in the space in terms of NFTs. You've got music artists that are doing certain things in and around the space who are looking quite good. But then you've got people who are literally creating a coin for no reason to promote an NFT on for no reason. It's like, why are you doing that? It's just going to inflate and kill the space. And that doesn't really, doesn't really fill me with much hope. Whereas the likes of Theta and Engine and all these kind of like Chili's and stuff like that, if it's a sidearm to what they're doing and a way of people earning rewards via NFTs, that's kind of how it should be, or how digital tokens should be in terms of I've got ownership of that, because that's kind of what a non-fungible token is. Question, Adam, is it stupid? I don't know, I've not read it yet. Your portfolio's too thin with too many different coins. Right, okay, too many different coins is always a problem. Now, here we go, bear with me, let me show you something. Right, one sec. So, if you're unaware, this is the Learning Crypto platform, right? There was a really good post on here before about, here it is, bags, right? Let's have a look at this post. So basically this is like the monthly service that we have a community. So 10 to 15 was the post, and a lot of things here are talking about how they went from a much higher amount of coins to a much smaller amount of coins, right? I go on the term quantity of quality, right? So essentially you have a lot of tokens, but quality tokens. So it basically means you have a lot of, not a lot of, right? If that makes sense. So you have 7 to 8 quality bags that you love, you want to cuddle, and you think these are the bollocks, right? And then you have a lot of them. Whereas some people like to go, I want to buy a lot of these, but I want to have 30 coins. Kind of doesn't make sense in ways, because you've got to look for them. And you're already seeing here how like kind of is madness here in terms of having 30 coins reduced it. And you're starting to see the significant changes. Like I think it was this one by Sean. In terms of you start to see the significant change of the amount of money you can make through the multiples of having a lot more coins. And I noticed it very, very quickly once I started to refine my strategy. And if you're having, say, 15 to 20 coins, even that number, right, for me, I think it's too much, right? Because one, if let's just say 8 of them or 9 of them are all Ethereum, and you've got to liquidate your assets in terms of sell or take profit and move it around, well, it's going to cost you a lot of money in fees for starters. Keeping on top of things, crazy, I know. Imagine looking at all the news for like 15 to 20, 30 coins, whatever. You've got to be careful. And for me, I would rather people have even 5 coins that you absolutely understand the team, you understand the emphasis of going forward, everything in terms of the life, right, of what that token's going to do, and you understand it. If you don't understand it, there's no point getting involved in it. But if you've got a lot of them, you understand what you're doing and you're buying it, then it's easier to compound. And you could take partial profits off that and be rewarded more, and then you can move them into other tokens. Or if you like another token that hasn't popped yet, for example, looking at likes of Polkadot, for example, here, say, for example, you bought a load of BNB like 6 months ago and it popped, and you notice that Polkadot hasn't moved yet. Well, take a little bit of profit, put it into Polkadot, all that kind of good stuff. But for me, if you have more than 8 altcoins, if you have, say, BTC, and then you have like 8 or 9 altcoins, you're probably going to start struggling. So try and keep below that at least if you can. But that's my personal opinion. That's what works for me. And I think a lot of people have kind of got that message very, very quickly in terms of, I think the Ethereum fees have kind of made people realize a lot of things, to be honest with you, which is always crazy. I've got quite a few questions. Nice to have you, by the way. Please do smash the like button. Help this channel grow, obviously. Want to try and get to a nice number. I think we've got over 2,000 subscribers, which is pretty awesome. Not really pushed it, to be honest with you. Let's have a little look at some questions. I do apologise if I miss people. Putting profit into micro caps like a video. Yeah, I always put profits into low cap coins because it makes sense, right? You want to be as risk free as possible. If you start getting really lost on like coin market cap and go to like the last page, or you find like the brand new listed, right? Recently added. This is always fun, right? You always find shite in here. Do apologise for my language, but it's true. I mean, you find some poo in here, and yeah, to some people's poo is another person's treasure, right? That old. I've just made that saying up, I know. But when we start talking about low cap coins, they are risky, right? For some way or reason, especially if they're like a low cap, it's because something's not happened yet. whether that's an exchange listing, whether that's a product build, whether that's a team acquisition, funding, all kinds of stuff, right? There's all kinds. You see a lot of funding projects come out already ready to go, right? Off the bat, they're already worth billions. Look at like Polkadot and other coins, right? You know, the big ICOs, right? We're not looking at those. We're looking at the ones that are literally, you know, bootstrapping, like literally on the floor. And you start seeing coins. Now, if we're looking here, I don't even think we've got market. There's a market cap here of 18 million, right? Whatever this is, Visor. Not a clue what this is. And you could probably argue here this is a low cap coin because it's $18 million in terms of fully diluted 62. I have no idea what this is, by the way. But just to kind of prove a point is this could go up a lot in value. A lot in value. If that goes to $1 billion, it's a lot of money. It's you know, it's a great rise. But for you to get in that, you're better off using profits only because it's risky. You don't know what it is. You know, you always see people scream the loudest when their coins do well, myself included. You know, it's just one of those things. It's human behavior. But yeah, there we go. Let's have a little look elsewhere. Oh my God, there's so many questions, man. Always good to see. If BTC breaks all-time highs, alt-C, I don't think it is, you know, because with alt-season, what we've found is, yes, it's carried on, but if this carries on going and more people are getting interested in the likes of DeFi, NFTs, all kinds of buzzy words about, oh, let's buy this, because we're going to get to that caveat where very, very quickly, and I think it's already happening, is where, oh, BTC is very expensive, I don't want to buy that, I want to buy this. So they go on Coinbase, they go on Voyager, they go on, I don't know, whatever else he is these days for everyone to jump on very, very quickly. Buy, right? Very, very simple. You know, it's one of those things where Bitcoin's expensive. I'll buy the next best thing, which is usually something like Litecoin or something. Then you see Litecoin pump. You know, it's as long as money is still flowing to the altcoins, that's fine. But what we don't want is this going down and the dominance going up, and then that's where we got problems. And you basically need to go right out of altcoins into Bitcoin. Let's just ride it. That's usually what kind of happens. I do apologise if I miss out some questions, by the way. On Federal Reserve prediction. Now, this is a good question. Now, I've been out the loop a little bit. I've just been sitting on it, right? But it came to my attention today, in my lovely little group, is that single staking is coming out very, very soon, as in the next week. So single staking is not LP malarkey, it is genuinely just putting your money into the network and staking. You will be rewarded very, very handsomely for doing it on the DeFi protocol that they've built. It'll only be for this currency at the moment, and then obviously, you know, stable currencies will come out onto that as well moving forward. Very, very similar to likes of Aave and Compound and whatnot, right? So for me, I'm staking it. I'm going to be staking it. I won't be staking a load. I'll probably do. I might do a YouTube video on in terms of how to do it and how it kind of works, kind of obviously to show people. But I won't be staking a lot of it. But I'll, you know, for me, the rates are going to be stupidly high for the start. Like anything, like Zilliqa was saying, there was a few other coins that were very, very similar. That for the first like 3-4 weeks, it was like nuts because of the liquidity providing. It needs to build that liquidity up. But when we start talking about the fact that on exchanges, use case of people, obviously Metcalfe's law is always important in terms of how things grow. This will probably do very, very well, in my opinion, right? It's, at the minute, fully diluted in terms of $177 million. When you look at the likes of Compound, Aave, and etc. in terms of valuation, but this is targeting a bigger audience. This is targeting the likes of the banks, business to business, and all kinds of goods, traditional finance, really, more money versus the likes of people that put into Compound, for example. So that's important. But I'm not quite sure on the prediction, but I do think it's undervalued. And I think when the product is live and we start seeing it, I think it'll be very, very interesting. Yes, profits will be taken from the stake and rewards of the early incentives, but it's going to just bring more and more volume and liquidity elsewhere. And when it goes on exchange, it's probably going to fly, in my opinion. But that's my overall opinion on it. But I will be staking. I'm not going to stake, as I say, I'm not going to stake loads. I might put like 10 to 15,000 in a single stake, or just let it sit for I might just let it sit for a month or two, because I always like to have value appreciation in a bull market, whereas in a bear market I'd rather stake then and accumulate the asset there if I'm happy to hold it. But if the reward's there, you might as well try and grab it as much as you can, essentially. Hi everyone. It's good to see a decent little turnout. I wanted it to be nice and small and easy. It's a lot more refreshing. It's better when when people aren't screaming, share out this coin, sausage boobies, or whatever it's called, and random stuff. You late? Why are you late? If you're not an alpha tester, you're missing out. No. To be honest with you, the rewards are going to be high as because it needs liquidity. Minimum to stake on single is, I think, one token, I believe. But you wouldn't want to do one token because the Ethereum fees are going to kill you. So make sure you got fees in your wallet so you can lose some Ethereum when you do it. You can't. I've yet to see a smart contract with staking hacked. They usually, if they're ever going to get hacked, that's usually an inside job, or it's done for PR purposes, like certain coins have done it. At the end of the day, you never ever stake your full bag. Simple as that. But fundamentals of staking is pretty safe, essentially, because it's maintaining of the network via smart contracts, especially on the Ethereum network. And, at the end of the day, it's going to be within a contract. If something goes wrong, there'll be a procedure in place to give you them tokens back. Simple as that. Simples. I will cut my arm off to know your long-term bag. Yeah, you don't want to know my money situation. Don't have any. I lost it all in a boating accident. One token. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. There's a question there. What team do I support? Liverpool. We're not very good, mind. Don't know if you noticed. Pretty rubbish. Random question, Ash. I hope all is well. Got a random one, right? Why are you more bullish on DOT over Cardano? Because the owner, the founder, simple. Gavin Wood is a much more respectable, calm, cool, collective guy versus Charles, who often gives it a very, very bad image. His Twitter rants are not exactly filling with hope. Just stuff like that. And I think the branding's better. I think the branding of Polkadot is more appealing to more people. And I also think the way it's run is a lot better because it's built on foundations of a really solid company. Whereas with Cardano, I don't quite understand where the kind of roots are. There's a lot of people say about Cardano in terms of like where it's based in Hong Kong, it's contract based, and I don't like that idea. Whereas with me, I just think Polkadot's more simplistic to understand. It's easier on the eye for branding. It's nice and neater, and it's also got a lot more, in terms of, I don't know. I think the likes of the parachains is a different way of doing it. And I think that will obviously get people in, especially better projects, certainly if it's built better. But that's my opinion on it. I did hold Cardano for a long, long time, but I sold it recently. Well, not so much recently, a couple of months back, and used the profit wisely. And yeah, I've been staking Polkadot for a while now, and I quite like it, essentially. Wow, so many questions. Do I have a retirement plan? I'm not that old yet. I see crypto as the long-term game. I don't see it going away anytime soon. I see it as an alternative kind of currency to the world. I don't think it'll ever replace cash, in my opinion. I don't think that's going to be possible with the government and obviously royals sort of mint involved in that if you're in the UK as well. But I see it as a solid foundation for a store of wealth in terms of Bitcoin. I obviously see the likes of use case of blockchain technology, borderless enhancement. It just makes things better. But for me, yes, I'll take profit into fiat for certain things, but at the same time, I'll be keeping a lot of it in crypto, a lot of it, because why not? There's nothing wrong with holding crypto. But, it's one of those things. Fuck off, Lee. Leave me alone. I'm not as old as you, lad. KSM or DOT. For me, both of them are worth buying. I'm explaining a video Friday, I did KSM, and it is its own blockchain. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people seem to think that KSM is literally the testing station for Polkadot. It's not. It is going to be its own independent entity. It's going to have at least 30 to 40 parachains on this over the course of this year, and then up to 400 to 500 moving forward. There's going to be a lot more on here. So I would highly suggest, if you've not yet done so, do your research on what KSM is. Obviously expect some chaos. But for me, I absolutely love both of them. I think the branding of KSM is beautiful. I love it. For some reason, I'm just kind of attracted to it. I love it. But Polkadot will be the more sensible one. And KSM will be that friend who you've always had, who always gets really, really drunk, and you've got to basically hold their hand all the time. So that's kind of like the crazy side of it. So this will be like the lower entry, the riskier projects, the more ambitious sort of startup companies that could well become very, very much a part of cryptocurrency, but they get an opportunity on KSM, which again, same process, bonding periods, auctions, all kinds of good stuff like that, monthly repayments. So it's going to be a lot of volume, and you've got to think, this is like, in terms of low cap coins, we're looking at this as an infrastructure at $3.7 billion. You know, it could realistically, if you want to go radical here, this could match the likes of Cardano very, very easily. Very, very easily if you think about it. And it's, you know, it's on Polkadot, and it's Polkadot's essentially side independent chain, which is very, very similar to it. So that's kind of awesome. A few long-term on federal holders start to shill IGG. I've never even heard of it, in all honesty. I've seen people talk about it, but I don't like to look at coins. I'll have a little look at it, but which one is it? I don't even know which one it is. There's two of them. I'm going to guess is it this one? I don't even know. Oh, probably not. Meh, whatever. Yeah, I don't tend to look too much. Thoughts on Digibyte? No. For me, nope. Old technology, there's more exciting things on the market. Oh, there's loads of questions now. Oh, when are the podcasts coming back? You have to ask Andy, right? So Andy last week forgot about it. This week it was kind of my fault. I had a lot of things going on. I had to phone the bank. I had to phone my phone provider. Just wasn't going to happen in the day on Friday. But yeah, it's busy, man. Can't just do it all the time. That's a problem. Like, he's been literally renovating a whole house on his days off, and I've been, whenever he's been free, I've kind of been busy. So it's like, oops. But for, you know, the podcast is still ticking on nicely. We're still ranked in some nice places. We've managed to get to a nice point where we can just carry on at whatever point. But we'll probably be at the weekend or whatever. It'll probably be coming out. But we'll have plenty to talk about, no doubt. We'll probably make quite a bumper episode, essentially. Be pretty awesome. Ooh, ah. Akasha Network. I like Akasha Network a lot. This might be on my next to buy list when the market dominance goes high. Maybe. Don't want to give away too much, but I think this is probably one of the most needed things in the world right now, because I, myself included in this, I'm sick to death of Amazon and their bloody cloud dying. It always dies, right? Yes, there's always going to be a point of failure, but this at least has something that is decentralized in it, right? When we start talking about serverless, all kinds of stuff like that, right? Serverless for a start off is a massive sell point for me, because most of the world, and I don't know if people know this, like, it's all on a cloud in terms of, it's basically content data, right? Content delivery networks, essentially. So whenever you're in a website, whenever you're around the world, there's servers dotted around for you to make that website load fast. If one of them fails, the website breaks, right? So we've had it with Learning Crypto website. We're on Amazon. We're on Cloudflare, which is also linked to Amazon. Most exchanges are on Amazon and stuff like that. So it's a nightmare. But when we start thinking about it, well, if a lot of people go to this, the chances are there'll be a lot higher uptime in terms of your data, and most of it is online. So you can see here, basically AWZ is the one that always, if that breaks, the internet breaks, essentially. So yeah, it's good. That's all I'm going to say on it. I like it a lot. It's got a solid use case, man. I need a podcast to get me through work. Yeah, we do need a thought on Traveler. Well, I like Traveler. I'll probably like using it more than I would buying it, though, to be honest with you. Where is it? There it is. Anyone booked a holiday on this yet? Please let me know. I want to know what reviews are like, because I've not done it yet. But the world and the interest of holidays is going to start picking up very, very soon. And if you don't know yet, this accepts cryptocurrency. It's basically the most cryptocurrency friendly website in the world, right? So wow, whoa, ooh, it's even got shit coins on it. It's great. So there's loads of stuff you can use. So like for me, I can go on like a multiple cruise around the world forever with Basilica, for example, right? But that's good. I mean, this is why I like it. Obviously, they've got their own token you can use, but it's the element that you've got choice. And this is pretty much like Experian. Is it Experian? Or whatever it's called. Or Expedia. I can't remember which one. One of them is credit score and one of them is a freaking booking website. You know, it's pretty decent. So, you know, if you were looking at like going on holiday at some point, should we go on holiday? Where should we go? Somewhere in August. Where should we go? I don't know. New York. Oops. 2 adults. Go for it. See what comes up. There we go. So yeah. It's pretty cool. Random, I know. But yeah, like this is, I think this is the sort of thing that will probably do all right. You know, I don't know what it's like in terms of other prices and comparisons, but you know, if you didn't really care much and you had some profits to spend and you wanted to use it, there's no, you know, why not? You know, I've never used it. That's why I'm asking for reviews. But the website's neat and tidy. That's just a hotel, so you have to book a flight. So, but you can book flights as well. And then obviously you just pay for it in crypto. And I'm pretty sure it's like, you know, like the price comparison websites. But anyways, I don't know anyways. I've never used it, but I do like the look of it. How much still have I got? Enough. I bought in April. It was a lot cheaper back then. I don't know, a couple of thousand still, maybe. How much they are? Not bad, is it? Ooh. Anyways, I want to be wrapping this up very, very soon. I do appreciate everyone turning up. The first one will be a bit more structured to the next one in terms of an actual video at the start, essentially, then we'll Q&A. But hopefully the plan will be to kind of schedule them. Similar sort of title, but obviously at the end of it will be different sort of coins to focus on if something's happened. Say, for example, maybe I could have talked a bit more about BNB, and I did mention it before on one of my tweets, actually. I mean, it looks like a FOMO chart. I mean, just look at it. Whee! Off we go. Everyone's getting all excited about it. I'll turn off log scale so it looks a bit better. There we go. Look at that. That's just crazy. Ever wonder what price discovery mode looks like? It's that breakout. Usually, yeah. So if you're talking about when will alts hit their top, it's usually through exhaustion of BTC, usually because people will take profits in BTC and, you know, move them into altcoins for the further upside because people are greedy. It's called FOMO mentality, obviously. It's like everyone jumping out of certain coins because something else is rocketed, then the one that they've jumped out of is finally took off and they're like, oh, bugger. You know, it always happens, and you see it all the time with certain coins when certain things pump, a few days later something else goes. And it's like, whoa, why has that happened? It's just a relationship between high cap coins, low cap coins, whatever, mid caps as well. People will move things, and whenever Bitcoin goes, you know what, I'm done, you will find that people are like, I want to make money still, let's pump the altcoins. That's usually the relationship that happens, and it'll just casually drip down again, and then people take profit into Bitcoin and make more Bitcoin out of it. It's like it's one of those cycles. It's absolutely crazy. BNB is crazy. I should have bought this ages ago. I don't know why I didn't. On some of my early videos, like, the Binance machine's going to get bigger and better and it's going to just go up in value. Yeah. It literally went from, what was it? It was in like January, wasn't it? Yeah. So January, December time, it was like $40. It is now 500. Balls. Anyways, I'm going to leave it. Thank you all for turning in. Make sure you have subscribed to this channel. If you're not a subscriber, this is not on the Crypto Mobster channel. This is on Learning Crypto. And yeah, Sundays we'll be back again. Hopefully, fingers crossed anyways.